since we took office. Inflation is down and wages are up.
I would state that inflation is down more than 60%.
Our economy remains resilient, bolstered by President Biden's economic plan.
What a lie that was. In fact, Biden's cumulative inflation was over 4 years, over 20%. Joining us now, U.S. National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett. All right, I saw you there at the White House. You were there with the president. Tell us about the economic impact of what the president was doing today.
Right. Well, one of the things that we saw as we were studying the Biden policies towards automobiles is that they were trying to basically end the internal combustion engine with fuel economy standards that were crazy. I had my staff go around and look at car dealerships in the D.C. area and find the car that had the best gas mileage that was just burning gasoline, and they found a couple of smaller cars that had gas mileage of 36 miles per gallon. The Biden administration was set to increase the required fuel economy for U.S. fleet cars to 51 miles per gallon. And so therefore there's basically no car anywhere in the U.S. that's being made that would meet that standard. So otherwise what they're doing is they're trying to make everybody buy electric cars. And, you know, I think electric cars have a place, but it's an incredibly disruptive thing to do. So you think about everybody that has a gas station with a convenience store next to it, every auto worker that works up in Michigan, you know, building engines, or in Tennessee for internal combustion engines, they're all going to be out of a job if we have that happen. But the other thing that I said when I was in the Oval with the president is that if you take, you know, people use a lot of energy driving around, and gasoline has a lot of energy in it. And so if we take all the gasoline and set it to zero and make people drive electric cars, then it increases the amount of electricity we have to have in the electric grid by 25%, which is about as much as the grid has gone up since 1970. So in other words, they're making it so that there are no cars that you could buy, and gas prices go through the roof, and there's an impossible increase in electricity generation that's required that they're going to try to do without fossil fuels. And so it's just crazy, crazy stuff. And President Trump stood in front and explained how he's going to do away with these fuel economy standards and make it so that people can have ordinary, normal cars again.
Yeah, all of the above. That's what the Republicans have long championed, all of the above energy policies. Correct. Which seem to make sense. And President Trump delivering on his drill, baby, drill. And this is part of making it happen. The president also had this to say about tariffs today. Have a listen. I'd love to get your comment.
We've had tremendous support on the tariffs. It's bringing in trillions of dollars of wealth. It's bringing in national security. And I've stopped 8 wars, and of the 8 wars, 5 of them have been because of tariffs and trade. So they're very important. And General Motors plans to invest $4 billion as it brings its manufacturing back to the United States from Mexico. After falling by 5% under Biden, U.S. auto production has surged by 10% so far this year.
Kevin, the president's only been in office for, what, 10 months? A lot of revenue now coming to the Treasury that wasn't there before.
Right, and people are making stuff in the U.S. again. That's what we're hearing from the automakers, and creating great American jobs. It was kind of funny when you were playing those clips before. They said wages in the Biden administration, some Biden spokesperson said wages were going up more than prices. That was just not true. In the 4 years of Biden, wages dropped for the typical worker by $3,000 relative to inflation. They lost $3,000 in purchasing power, and we've gained this year because of all the onshoring that in part is attributable to tariffs, $1,200 already after adjusting for inflation. And so President Trump is creating an economic boom again, just like he did last time. And, I think the 18 trillion number that he talks about is unfathomable, but it's really, really happening because we've expected new factory production, and we're making deals where people say, okay, well, I got to make stuff in the U.S. so that I don't have to pay a tariff. We've been tracking all the groundbreakings for new factories, and we're up to about 20 over the last 2 months. And these are really big billion-dollar factories. And so the U.S. is back. The U.S. is back in a big way.
Yeah, numbers are a difficult thing for Democrats. I've learned that through the time. Real quickly, Kevin, are you going to be the next Fed chairman? Yes or no?
you know, I come to work every day in the White House with the best job in the world.
I just thought I'd try. Kevin,
do.
you don't have to actually answer that question, but I thought I'd give it a try. It would have been good breaking news.
I really love working in the White House every day.
We'd love you to be the Fed chairman too, so we'll see what happens. All right.
Thanks.
Kevin Hassett, thank you so much for joining us.